Welcome back. Now we have the great privilege of having a certain Michael Scott with us on the stage, and he's embarrassed about it, but he is genuinely an oracle of everything MotoGP. He's been following the circus for, I don't want to lie, it must be 30, 40 years now.
84.
Since 84. And my math says that's well over 10 years. So we've got an opportunity to ask him about anything at all. Obviously, there's only one subject, really, that anyone wants to talk about in regards to MotoGP, and that's the fracas that went on last year. But before we get to that, I think I might try and embarrass you, first of all, Mike. We spoke to him exactly a year ago, and we asked him his predictions for what was going to happen during this forthcoming year that we've just had. And I remember your predictions. The first one was that Moto3 would be the most exciting class of all. And nearly didn't happen, did it? Danny Kent nearly ruined it.
Oh, no. Moto3 came up with the goods.
Towards the end of the season.
Yeah, well, you couldn't rely on that.
Were you surprised with Danny Kent's...
Trust my predictions.
Well, you are an oracle after all.
Yes.
Were you surprised by Danny Kent's performance?
Very, very. And you know, the funny thing is, it looked as though it was going to go on forever, and then it just
something
all went
happened,
wrong.
something changed. And
so it's that close, you know.
Do you think that was in the mind of Danny Kent?
Well, racing is a great deal in the mind. So yes, basically, yeah.
Basically, yeah. Okay, so we'll let you off with that prediction. Moto2, I have to say, I love my Moto2. Again, it was almost ruined by someone being too good. Zarco and the like were buggering off, but looking good for this coming year?
You see, you've got me there. I think Moto2 is an abominable class.
Do you? Why do you think it's so terrible?
It's overweight motorcycles, overweight, underpowered, overtired. They've got too much tyre. The technicians can't do anything much with it. They've got these lumpy old engines.
Glorified CVR 600 engine, isn't it?
Not even glorified. They're detuned from the 600 Supersport class. They're detuned.
Okay, so that's a bit of a muddle. Let's get on to MotoGP. Now, I think your prediction from last year was that Dani Pedrosa was done, would never come anywhere. Valentino Rossi would never challenge for another title again.
Yeah.
And what else?
And
I have to say, they were fair. And Marquez you did actually say, Marquez would win if he didn't fall off.
So I was right in
You were right. And I have to say, your predictions are entirely fair. I never saw Valentino Rossi challenging. Did that take you by surprise?
Yes, very much so, very much so.
What went right for Rossi then in this last year? Simply being back with his beloved Yamaha, a bike he understood?
Well, there was that. There was mistakes from the other riders, and he didn't make mistakes. The thing, he was the most consistent. He's not as fast as the young guys, but he knows that, and he knows that, you know, funnily enough, being fast doesn't always win races. Look at Marquez, you know.
And Lorenzo, then, I see Lorenzo in the media has been banging on about how, and I have to say I sort of agree with him, how he is the deserved champion. He obviously doesn't have as many fans as anyone else, but he's the deserved champion because when it was dry, he was always fastest, he was always at the front. Is that a fair appraisal from him?
I think so, yeah. I think so. He had some bad luck, and you know, who's the best rider now? It's either him or Marquez, and
absolutely.
And Marquez is one of those riders who will go fast enough until he's crashing, and then he's good enough to save the crash. And
usually.
And Lorenzo is even better than that because he can go that close to crashing and not crash. And for that alone, you know, he's marvellous.
Signs from the early testing suggest that the Michelins will suit him because he's got this extra edge grip that not so many other riders, maybe Dani Pedrosa rides in a similar way. You think that's going to continue throughout the season? It looks like he's going to start with a head start.
Yes, and him and Rossi, you know, the Michelin suit the Yamaha style as well, and Honda appear to have tried to trip themselves up again. How? Oh, by being big-headed and doing things their own way.
I believe they have a Screamer engine when everyone else has gone with these kind of droney different firing order engines. They're still sticking with a Screamer, massive power, and then trying to tame it with the electronics.
Yes.
Which is now a problem because we've got a standard ECU.
Because they've had their electronics taken away. And now last year they introduced the control or the same hardware for everybody. And by then, Ducati and Yamaha had already been using the Magneti Marelli software, and Honda could have said, okay, we'll try the software as well, and had a year of development. But they used their own, so now they're coming in cold with this magnet. They've got to start from the beginning.
Okay, well, a big talking point last year was obviously Malaysia, well, started in Phillip Island, didn't it?
Yes.
Now, was Rossi right to get upset with the way that... I mean, supposedly there's this unwritten rule when you're coming close to the end of the championship. If you're in the championship title, don't get involved with too heavy dice with them. If you can pass them and leave them. But don't mess... I mean, is that an unwritten rule that should be ignored? Was Marquez out of order for, overtaking it? Or was Rossi just too sensitive?
Why did Rossi attack Marquez, but he didn't attack Iannone, who did just the same at Phillip Island? Why didn't he attack Pedrosa, who passed him on the last lap at Aragon?
But passed him and left him, so rather than stay... Yes, and beat him.
Well, he beat him, but it was the last lap. So there's another agenda here. And I've got the greatest respect and liking and admiration for Rossi, but he's a ruthless man. He's a very clever man. He's an entertainer. And I did think at the time that we were coming to the end of the season, and Lorenzo was catching him fast. So there was a good chance that Lorenzo was going to take the title, whatever Marquez or Rossi did. Now, Rossi could see this coming, and he found a way, in my opinion, to put a little stain on that championship. Put a little dirty mark on it.
Anticipating that it wasn't going to go his way.
Blaming Marquez, knowing his fans would go with him, even though
he was probably well out of order.
He was well out of order. And he played the game well. And he lost the championship, but
it wasn't
Lorenzo
a case of his mind games actually backfiring on him for once.
Well, I think they did start a backfire because he lost it in Malaysia with the famous kick, or did he kick?
Well, you're as close as anyone. Was it a kick?
No.
Was the move itself completely and utterly out of order?
Yes. Yes, it was an extraordinary
moment of a man losing his cool completely.
They misjudged each other. He misjudged that Marquez would try and pass him even though he was slowing him down.
Yeah.
Marquez misjudged that Rossi was really going to do that.
And that's it then, the relationship with Rossi and Marquez is over.
It's very bad, yes.
Do we anticipate some horrendously good fights this year?
Yes, very much so. If Honda get their act together, because Marquez is faster than Rossi.
Yes, he is. I think, yes.
But
I was almost faster than Lorenzo in my mind on the right day. But Lorenzo has the consistency.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, let's put you on the spot again, Mike. Predictions for this coming year.
Okay. Moto 3 is going to be the best class.
We'll live with that.
Yeah.
Moto 2 is worth ignoring, so you can turn off when that happens.
Don't care. MotoGP, yeah, let's have Stoner come back and win it. But it's not going to happen.
I'm going to get in first. Lorenzo's going to win. Yeah.
Lorenzo.
Chased by Marquez and Rossi. Is he going to be? I presume if he keeps his consistency, he's going to be there.
You know what would be really nice if Danny had a go.
Danny Pedrosa, who was looking brilliant at the end of the year.
He was looking brilliant, and he's such a self-contained guy, and he's one of the people who kind of understands what racing means, which is nothing, really.
Yes,
it's
in
a
the
race.
scheme of
it's a motorbike race. That's all it is. It's just a motorbike race.
He's become the distinguished gentleman of the field.
Absolutely, and all the airy-fairy bullshit and all that, he just laughs it off.
Does his job.
So I would like to see him have a go, but I don't think he's fast enough.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mike Scott. Yeah, give him a round of applause.
Oh, thank you.